Lil Xan, the man, the myth, the legend. Now, this guy's story is so crazy that I've already done 2 videos on it, but I feel like as much as his story is discussed, not a lot of people actually talk about the main thing that he got famous for, his music.
Yeah. Hey. Hey.
Of course, they say it's bad, but they never really talk about why it's bad, or more importantly, what's the worst of it. Now, I often hear people say that it's something off of his Total Xanarchy album, which I can agree, that was a professionally made album, and definitely there were some bad songs on there. But as the number one Lil Xan fan in the world, I have looked deep into this man's catalog. I have listened to it all. I was a fan during high school, and I could probably tell you what the absolute worst is. So that's what we're here to do today. And if you think it's Total Xanarchy, well, let me tell you something. There's a long way down to the bottom. So without further ado, let's look into the story. Sorry, not the story. Let's look into the top 10 worst Lil Xan songs ever made. So before we get into the actual list here, we have a couple honorable mentions. First of all, we have Baby You Love Me.
Baby, you love me. Yeah.
Which is just basically a really grating love song that Xan made, and he was so embarrassed by it, he actually took it off of YouTube a couple months after he put it out. The whole song also leaked when Adam22 went to Xan's house to hang out with him, and you can just see the pain in this man's eyes. He did not want to be there listening to that song. Next up, we got the song Wide Awake, which was clearly made under the influence of drugs. The beat is pretty okay on this one, honestly, but the lyrics just don't even rhyme at all. Even his fans weren't really down for this one, and a lot of people in the comments were wondering why he went from a song they portrayed to a song like this. I have to say, Xan's whole trying to be like Lil Pump era definitely is the dark one for his music, but this song is spared from the list because of its iconic monkey verse, which if you haven't heard it, go listen to it. It's just so laughable and stupid that it actually kind of makes the song better. Next up, we got Oh My Gosh It's Rari, which was initially supposed to be on this list, but after consulting with a couple people, they told me that the song actually isn't that bad. Xan's part is kind of laughable, but at the end of the day, there's still high energy, and it's not as bad as some of the stuff that comes later on this list, so it got spared. Once again, it basically has the same problems as Wide Awake, where the verse just doesn't really rhyme or make all that much sense, but the one plus side to this is you do get to watch Xan dance around in the music video, which is pretty entertaining. Even when this guy's not doing his best, he still has some entertainment value to him, you have to admit. And the final honorable mention is Sorry with an exclamation mark. Not to be confused with Sorry with no exclamation mark, because those are 2 different songs. This isn't really a bad song in my opinion. It has a PMB feature, and both of them just kind of copy X on the song. The beat's a little weird, but overall it's pretty good. The one thing to mention is that Xan drops a bar about his dad smoking crack, which I just think is really funny that he can actually play into that meme and put it on a song. So overall, pretty good song, but I knew that information, so you guys need to know that information. Okay, so now we're into the actual bottom 10. Sorry, I don't really have any cool transitions for the numbers, so 10. And we're kicking it off with Love Me. So once again, this is a Xan feature, so he doesn't really have time to ruin the whole song, but overall the song itself isn't that good, so Xan doesn't make it a whole lot worse or a whole lot better. The song itself is basically just a generic love song with pretty bad lyrics about putting books on the shelf. Just not another book on the shelf. But his verse itself is pretty bad. He's mumbling the entire time. You can barely understand what he's saying. There's a lot of overused auto-tune, and he even admits that he made this verse when he was on heavy amounts of drugs. Overall though, it's not the worst showing by Xan. Initially this was going to be number 1 when I first started doing this list, but after listening to it time and time again, it actually can be catchy, and it's got a little bit more rhythm than some of the songs coming out. 9. So next up we got TikTok. When it comes to Total Xanarchy, many can't agree what is the worst song because each of them are so differently bad in different ways. Don't get me wrong, Basically Betrayed, Deceived, and even Colorblind are all good songs. Xan actually shows a little bit of promise here, and we can kind of hear the album that we might have got if he had to put the work in. Now, a lot of people think that Round Here is the worst song because it has repetitive lyrics and a lifeless flow.
Are you not from around here?
But if you want repetitive lyrics and a lifeless flow, listen to TikTok. The whole song is basically just tick tock, tick, Gucci, flip, flop. And worse than that, it goes on for 3 whole minutes. It does have a YG verse at the very end that kind of does save the song, but who would listen to the song long enough to even hear that feature? Which poses the question, if a feature is so far into the song that nobody even listens to it, does it save the song? I don't know, you're gonna have to think about that. However, the friend that I made this list with actually rated this the lowest song out of all of them, so I want to let him give his opinion on why he thinks it's so bad.
Now, you might think that this is one of the worst songs of all time. And you're right! Now, as someone who's not very into, like, the rap scene, I feel like it's got a lot of the similar problems that a lot of his other material have, as in, the beat's good, but the lyrics are easily the weak point. And well, tick tock, tick tock. It gets very repetitive, and I didn't even know that there was a feature on here with 2 Chainz. I kind of just gave up after like the first 30 seconds.
They got more bars than a white Xan. Fear guard white.
8. Next up, we got Different.
People only fucking hate me 'cause I'm different.
This is a really strange track because it serves as one of the best and worst tracks off the whole Xanarchy Militia tape, which overall isn't a very strong tape, so maybe that's not a whole lot of praise for it. I mean, the beat is pretty good, the singing's not that bad, but the lyrics and the meaning behind this song are what kind of drag it down. This is Xan attempting to go after his haters for the millionth time, and it just comes off as really cringy. I mean, usually I can handle a couple lyrics about him talking about being rich and how all of his haters hate him because he's rich and they all work at Walmart, but he actually stops the beat to have a little, I don't know, breakdown in the middle of the song where he talks about how he's the worst rapper of all time and he knows, but it doesn't really matter because he's still making money.
Lil Xan sucks, Lil Xan sucks. I'm the worst rapper, I get it, we know.
It just kind of hurts the song overall. Paying way too much attention to haters has definitely plagued Xan's career throughout, and many of his songs include lyrics about this very thing, but in my opinion, this is definitely the worst example of that. 7. Next up, we got Rock Bottom.
I swear to God, I won't hit rock bottom.
And sometimes Lil Xan can actually make a pretty good love song, if not a little generic, but this is not a good love song. The main problem with this song is just the vocals that Xan has. He sounds like he's not awake. It sounds like he's been smoking and drinking the night before, and he still has old cigarette tar and whiskey left in his throat, and he's just got, right to God, I won't hit rock bottom. Like,
I won't fall like the leaves in autumn.
it also includes some vocals from his ex-girlfriend Annie saying, I love you baby, and it just goes on and on and on. I think it could have been a cute little thing to kind of, you know, convey the meaning of the song that is for his girlfriend, but just going over and over and over again just comes off as annoying.
I love you, baby.
Part about this is somebody definitely professionally mixed this, so I can only imagine what the vocals sounded like before they were properly mixed. But overall, from what we actually got, there's nothing really standout bad about this song, but that makes it worse in my opinion because there's nothing like comically bad that makes it fun to listen to or actually any good parts that bring you back to it. It's just white noise, and at the end of the day, if music is white noise, then why do we even listen to it? 6. So it was kind of hard to position these next 2 choices because both of these songs are kind of bad in similar ways, but I do think that Candyman is just a little bit better.
I'm in Candyland.
The main thing about this song is that it's annoying, like really annoying. It's basically just a song about how Lil Xan is in Candyland and he needs to get some more Candyman, and you just start to wonder, is he trying to be annoying on purpose?
Need to find me some more Candyman.
Because there's actually a point where the song ends and then Lil Xan says, I'm gonna bring the hook right back, and he continues on the same drowning Candyman lyrics.
Psych, I'm gonna bring the hook right back in.
A lot of these Lil Xan songs are kind of hard to rank because initially they're not too bad when you first listen to them. For the first 15 seconds you're like, okay, this could be a good song, but after listening to the exact same thing for 3 minutes, it just gets so grating that you can't stand it anymore. I've been told the people that I worked with on this video that they only really had to listen to the first 15 seconds of a song because after that you get the entire idea of the song. But with this one, it's probably the first 5 seconds and you get the idea. This is a track off of Fireworks, Lil Xan's absolute worst mixtape, clearly made in the worst phase of his drug addiction, and it was so bad that he actually took it down as well. This would be the absolute worst song on the worst album he ever put out if there wasn't one more song that's even worse than this.
5.
Okay, so for a little bit of context, this is a mixtape that actually has a song where Lil Xan is just counting to 9. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I didn't put that on this because this song is even more repetitive and annoying than that. It's called Summer Days. This was actually the debut single off of this mixtape, which means it was the one that Lil Xan was actually proud of. And this has the exact same problem as Candyman. It's very repetitive, whereas Candyman is kind of annoying and kind of has a little bit of, okay, he's playing with us here. Summer Days is just a love song that just does not work in any way. We have some saving graces here. The verses actually aren't that bad, which makes it even more frustrating that he put that annoying ass hook where it's just Summer Days. And just goes over and over again for 4 whole minutes. This song did not need to be 4 minutes. This track is so bad that even in my most hardcore listening days to Lil Xan, I didn't like it at all. I would skip it every time to listen to the other gems on this mixtape. Now, you would think that this being his worst song off of his worst mixtape, it would be the absolute bottom of the barrel, but let me tell you, it gets a whole lot worse from here. We're getting to the point where we can't even consider this music anymore. Goth Bitch is just Lil Xan going Goth Bitch over and over and over again. There's no redeeming qualities to this one.
God bitch.
And unlike TikTok, which is very repetitive, it's not even mixed right. With no feature, he starts to slur his words and it just sounds like Lil Xan's going garbage, Garbage.
Garbage, garbage, hey, garbage.
This is off of his Sicko tape, which all things considered wasn't that bad, but this is by far the weakest track on the tape. Initially, there was no doubt in my mind this would be the worst song that Lil Xan has altogether, as it's just 3 minutes straight of Lil Xan just repeating the same phrase. How could it get worse than this? Even the verses aren't good because he's just so under the influence that they don't even make sense, they don't rhyme, they're all slurred, you can't understand anything he's saying. But at the end of the day, this was made before Lil Xan was actually famous. There was no professional production on it, so you kind of have to give it a little bit of leeway, but overall, still a terrible song. 3. Next up is Ski. This is the same thing as Goth Bitch. It's just ski, ski, ski. But it's even slower, it's even worse. This song is only about 2 minutes long, but it sounds like an eternity. It actually sounds like he recorded this song and then slowed it down to half speed for some reason. It's basically your average Lil Pump song, except it has no energy, no charm, no wit, nothing. Now, of course, it wouldn't be fair if I didn't give you the context of the song. This was basically a track that was created because of a meme of Lil Xan where he hops out of a closet wearing a Pikachu hat and pretending to ski. I know what you're thinking, that's not exactly high art, but this song can't even do justice for that. This song is just noise. Boring, slow, senseless, vapid, tasteless music, and it's not even white noise because it's actually torture to listen to. If you put somebody in a room for 6 hours and made them listen to nothing but this, they would definitely lose their mind. Awful song. 2. Next up, we have Saved by the Bell. This is without a doubt the worst song on Total Xanarchy. It is truly mind-blowing. This got produced, seen by multiple members of Xan's team, and was still pushed out the door in the form that it was in. Like, I would understand if this song was made before Lil Xan was famous and he just made it in his own garage, he mixed it himself, but no, this was actually recorded in a professional studio, put on a professional album, produced by a professional producer, and a whole management team seen this before they put it out the door. I can't stress that enough. He's barely coherent on this song. You can't understand anything he's saying. The hook is just mindless and annoying, saying I was saved by the bell, yeah. And this is the only song on the project where he slurs his words. Like, he never does this on any other song on this professionally produced project, but in this one, he slurs his words. Just so drowning, slow, awful. It's truly awful. It really is, and I wanted to put it at the bottom of the list, but there is one song that's just a little bit worse than this. Before we get to the bottom, I do want to explain why I used to like Lil Xan's music back in the day, because I don't think a lot of people understand what the appeal of him is. Now, I can't just sit here and lie to you and tell you that a lot of it didn't come down to the way that Lil Xan looked, because that was definitely a big part of his brand, was the whole face tats and all that, but music itself actually did have a hook too. He had a lot of energy. He had a lot of silly ad-libs when he would rap. It was kind of like a ski mask. Definitely not rapping ability wise, but he would put a lot of energy into the track, and overall he just sounded like he was happy when he was making the music, so it made you happy to listen to it. So much of that was stripped away after he became famous because he started to get heavy into the drugs, and then he just had no energy in the tracks. It was really an energy thing with Lil Xan, that he was upbeat, he was always happy. I know you wouldn't believe that if you listened to him, but that's what it was. So all these bad tracks really go against the core value of what made a Lil Xan song good, and this is the most egregious example of that. So without further ado, let's get to, and number one is Fuck My Teachers.
Teacher said I'll never be shit.
And this song honestly just gives me a headache. All of Xan's other songs have one thing in common. One saving grace. They have a good beat. No matter how incoherent, repetitive, or drugged out Lil Xan gets, the musical value brought by the beat structurally holds the song together. But Fuck My Teachers does not follow that trend. It has a horrible, drowning, annoying beat. It has this weird bell noise that's peppered through the beat that gets in your head and just makes you nauseous. Even while writing this, I'm feeling a little sick to my stomach. And I don't think I have to mention how stupid the hook is and how the song doesn't even make sense in the first place, because Lil Xan never even went to high school. Teacher said I never be shit. I don't need pencil to go and achieve shit. Like, that sounds like somebody who's never entered a school in their life, what they would write about school, not knowing anything about it. Like somehow the worst part about going to high school is a pencil. It's not the homework, it's not the test, it's not the teacher bitching at you every day, it's a fucking pencil. Anyways, I know I'm definitely overthinking the mad ramblings of a drugged out 18-year-old, so I better stop and just say this is the worst Lil Xan song of all time.
Them teachers said I'll never be shit.
So that's my list. What do you think? Has anyone actually even bothered to listen to all these songs before, or am I the only dumbass that's actually done this? Anyways, content creators, I hope the next time you want to make a joke at Lil Xan's expense, you actually get the facts right. Like, Hive Mind really tried to say that Diamonds was the worst Lil Xan song of all time.
Diamond be wet on my wrist. Yeah, diamond be wet like a bitch.
Are you kidding me? I would listen to Diamonds 100 times before I would listen to any of the other songs on this list. Seriously, get your facts right. But overall, I do want to say that this is not made to make fun of Lil Xan. Like, we did did poke a little bit of fun at his musical catalog here. I think the guy is getting better. He's drug free now, and I don't want to send a whole lot of hate and harassment towards him, so please do not do that. Do not go after the guy. He did make some bad music in the past, but at the end of the day, art is art. We all make bad music. We all do bad things. We all make bad videos. So you can poke a little fun in my comment section, but don't go after him because I don't want to be responsible for that. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see a top 10 best Lil Xan song list, I can also do that, but I just need to know if anyone actually wants that. For now, shout out Knife Gang. If you made it to the end of this video, leave a knife emoji in the comments below. You could subscribe as well because I'm trying to make it to 5,000 subscribers and I almost hit that. So if you could subscribe, that'd be really cool. Follow me on Instagram, join my Discord server, and most of all, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching.